everybody, I'm Corey. Today we're going to talk about 5 ways to craft your own guitar tone. Hey everybody, today let's talk about tone. I know it's a cliche subject and everyone mocks it and what it is that we're looking for as guitar players, but the fact is finding your sound is such a crucial part of what we do as guitar players. And there are a ton of different ways to do that. So today we're going to run you through a few different things you can do to help find yourself as a musician, if that makes any sense. To find the sound that when you play it, you're like, it just speaks to you. You know what I mean? First, we're going to talk about pedals. Effects pedals are probably the most booming market in the guitar industry right now. There are hundreds of manufacturers around the planet. I just spit that off. I have no knowledge to base that on. But with that comes tens of thousands of different pedals and different pedal models and different pedal generations, and then it comes into your digital pedals. It comes to digital plugins for your DAW, things like that. The possibilities are literally endless. The possibilities are literally limitless for different ways to craft your tone with a pedal. If you're a metalhead and you're looking for that Kerry King sound, there are hundreds and hundreds of different metal distortions out there you can grab that will get you to close to that sound. You're never going to truly get someone else's tone because you don't have their hands. And the truth is that's where the magic happens. But you can get close, and close enough to feel good about what you're playing. For me personally, my sound is typically, I like a little bit of delay, set really quick, almost like a slapback, kind of just to thicken my tone a little bit. I pretty much have that behind anything I do. Quite often, I'll use a little bit of chorus. I actually have it turned up a little more today from what I was just playing than what I usually do. It's usually hardly distinguishable, but I like it there. I feel like it gives it a creaminess that I don't have otherwise. Today I'm running through a Walrus Julia 2, which I love. I've only had this pedal maybe a month. It's a little different kind of chorus for me. I play through a Boss chorus ensemble, which is a very singy vocal chorus. And if you want, 80s Def Leppard, that's where you get that sound. But the Julia is really great for just thickening what you're doing a little bit, and that's what I use it for. I mean, it's a fantastic chorus anyway, but for me, its main role is fattening up what I do. I also tend to play through an overdrive of some sort. Right now, I'm in love with the Wampler Plexi Drive, and that's what I'm going through, but I keep my gain way down. I like the boost it offers, but for most things, I'll have the gain between 9 and 11 o'clock, somewhere in this range. And I find that gives me just about the amount I want without going too overboard. I have tons of other pedals, obviously. Everybody has dozens now. That's just the way it goes. But those are my 3. Most anything I'm playing, those 3 will be on in some combination or another. But there's literally, you can get pedals to suit any desire you may have. If you're into, I don't know, if you like the modulation sounds, if you like, vibrato, tremolo, things like that, there's a pedal for that. You don't have to have an old twin reverb to get that great vibrato sound, tremolo sound. You can get pedals for whatever it is that you're into. If you're into, tremolo, vibrato, chorus, delay, any kind of modulation you might want, any kind of distortion, if you're into fuzz, if you're into any of that kind of stuff, phase, flange, It's all out there, and there are enough options in every one of those categories to where you can find something you like. And I would say also, don't be too hung up on buying expensive ones. Sometimes you'll be surprised. A circuit's a circuit. So I have before bought pedals that frankly didn't cost that much that I fell in love with. The MXR Phase 90 is a great example. There are high dollar phases out there, but the Phase 90 is just the classic phaser. And I prefer that. I don't need some $300 phase pedal where I can adjust every particular wave. Some people love that, and those of you who do, that's great. To each their own. But that's just where I come from. The key, though, is you can shape your tone dramatically using nothing other than pedals if you need to. Next, we're going to talk about learning to use the knobs on your guitar. How many of you pick up a guitar and go like this and just dime every knob on it and then slap to your bridge position and think that's how your guitar sounds? Well, that's true. It is how it sounds. But you can have hundreds of different combinations for how you like things. I tend to live in either the 2 or the 4 position on a Strat, which gets me either these 2 pickups or these 2 pickups, whichever one I'm into at the moment. And it's totally different. But you can back off of your tone and you can get these gorgeous sounds like that by not having your tone slammed. You don't have to. The other thing to understand is when you dime a tone knob, you're essentially just going pick up and out, because your tone, what it's doing is filtering it a little more, and a little more, and a little more, and when you get to the end, it's gone. There is no filter. So the farther you take it back, the bassier you're going to sound. The farther you take it forward, the treblier you're going to sound. And I like to stick mine, it's tough to say, but I would say around 6 or 7 is kind of my happy place. And if you're into blues especially, if you're into blues, you really need to learn to work these tone knobs greatly, because it makes such a big difference in your sound. Sure, it sounds good crispy too, but I love the thickness. Thick is a big thing for me. And for anybody who plays Strats, you're usually looking for a little bit of thick because they do tinny real well. But in short, just spend some time tinkering with the different pickup positions on whatever guitar you have, and roll these knobs back a little. Take turns with them. Just kind of get an idea. You might find that dimed isn't what you like. You might find it is, and if you do, that's great. It's your guitar. You can do what you want, obviously. But if you're looking to get a little bit of a different sound, that's a quick way to get there. All right, another way to craft your tone a little bit is to change the size of your strings. Everybody has what they think you're supposed to use, and whatever you're into is fine, but different thicknesses of strings have different sounds. Where we always hear the stories about Stevie Ray Vaughan playing with a 13 gauge E string, little E. At the same time, Billy Gibbons plays with an 8. And his tone is fantastic too. I would put ZZ Top up against anything, and he's playing with way lighter strings. There are advantages to going either way, but you can generally figure on having a much crisper tone with the smaller the strings you're using. If you want, deep rumbles, you want to go larger. But if you're looking for, crisp, spiky leads or something, you might want to go down a gauge. If you play with 10s, give 9s a try. If you play with 11s, give 10s a try. And I would argue do it the other way too. If you play with 10s, give 11s a shot. You never know. So 11s will sound deeper and richer, where, say, 9s are going to sound a little bit thinner, a little tinnier. But you might be surprised to find out what you like. And I recommend recording yourself while you play. There's a great video of Rick Beato, Rhett Shull, and Dave Honorato going through and changing sizes of strings and playing and recording. And it was kind of shocking how much better the nines sounded. This particular guitar, I have nines on. It's the only one I have nines on right now. And that video is why I tried it. And I just found that I liked it. It gave me, if I wanted a guitar to play cleans on, it was a little cleaner, a little crisper. So give that a shot. Another way to doctor your tone is to switch guitars. Like this. And see what you think, there's a dramatic difference in a guitar with humbucking pickups versus a guitar with single coils like the Strat I was just playing. This is going to sound thicker. It's going to sound meaner. If you're into hard rock, the humbuckers are the way to go. There are sounds you just don't pull out of single coils well without a lot of pedals and whatnot. So I mean, you can't get getting a good deep crunch, which I don't have with this right now. But each sound has a different place. It's entirely possible that the guitar you have is not the ideal guitar for your sound, and that's okay. Try a few. You might have, if you're like me and you have them hanging all over all the walls of your living room because you have a very understanding wife, grab something else. If you're playing one riff and it just doesn't sound good, grab something else. Sometimes I'll grab a telly and it'll just totally change my inspiration for the day as well as my tone, because it's about as opposite of this guitar here as you can find. Just don't hesitate to step outside the box with a guitar. You never know what's gonna do the thing for you. Next, we're going to talk about amps. An amp, in all honesty, is probably one of the biggest tone shapers in your entire audio system. I think people often underestimate how different sound is from one amp to the next. And I'm not just saying from a tube amp to a solid state. I'm a tube amp guy. I have a couple solid states, but I don't mess with them much. And there are digital modeling amps. There's everything. And all of these have their own unique feel, sound, and characteristics that might feel different to you than the others. So don't hesitate to walk into a guitar center or a music go-round or pawn shop or whatever you have around you. Sit down and try a few and kind of see the difference. Get a hang for the difference between solid state and tubes, some of the drawbacks and some of the pros, which in my opinion outweigh the drawbacks, but that's a video for another day. And find which one complements what you play the best. Not all types of music sound best through tubing, and not all kinds of music sound best through solid state. So sit down, and there's even a big difference from brands. I mean, there's very much, when you think of the difference in the Fender tone, the Marshall tone, and say the Vox tone, those are three very distinct sounds, and they're not that interchangeable. There's a big difference. So one might work really well with what you're doing, while the other one might suck. And that's a way that people get discouraged and find themselves not playing anymore. And that's what we want to avoid for everybody. We want people playing guitar because it furthers what we're doing and keeps us on our toes. I hope you found these tips to be helpful and that you'll spend some time tinkering with your gear a little more. Adjust those knobs. Try a new pedal. Pick up a different amp, or pull one out of a drawer that you haven't. A drawer. Pull one out of a closet that you haven't been using for a while and give it a try. It's funny because as we age, our hearing gets different, our sound gets different, our preferences change. So something that you didn't like a couple of years ago, give it another shot. When I was a young guy, I thought a Telly was the crappiest sounding guitar in the world. I thought it was only for country players out in Nashville, and that was it. And then I was much older before I realized, Led Zeppelin 1 and 2 were recorded with a Telly, and I thought, well, it's good enough for Jimmy Page. There's no reason I shouldn't at least give it a fresh shot. So that's what I did, and that's what I recommend for you. Try something new. Step out of the box, and you might find that tone that just becomes yours. Because that's what we're all looking for in the quest. I'd like to thank everyone for taking a few minutes out of your day to watch this video. I hope that you found it helpful and gotten some good tips and tricks you'll use as you go forward. Please, if you like the video, give us a thumbs up. If you don't like the video, run like hell. That's fine too. Give us a subscription. Please hit the subscribe button and click the bell so we can let you know when we have new stuff out. We're trying to grow this channel. We've got some neat new things coming along the horizon here that we're putting together as we get our schedule mapped out for what we're going to do when. But that's about it. Thanks for watching.